Yo, let me know if you could hear him. Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, yo, you're on stream, by the way. I'm streaming right now. Yeah.
Okay.
They're asking about you right now. They're like, how's Patrick's prep going? Everything. Y'all can hear him or what?
Can everybody hear me or what?
Audio's good?
Feels good. Check. Mic 1, 2.
Awesome. All right. So Patrick, tell me about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a fourth-year computer science student at the University of Lethbridge. I have strong foundations in C++, but recently I've been really getting into web development. What kind of piqued my interest is that the idea of taking something and turning into an application that could potentially influence potentially like thousands of people is something that kind of like piqued my interest, just because I have a friend who does software development, and recently he created his own kind of like web application. He made his own Google Chrome extension, which and I saw how many people have used it. There's probably like hundreds or over 1,000 users who use this extension. And that idea kind of excited me, like being able to take an idea, bring it to life, and having direct effect on people. Also, the idea of working at the AER, the Alberta Energy Regulators, really excites me because being able to work on technology in a sector as important as energy, especially here in Alberta, makes me feel like this is a perfect opportunity for me to apply my skills in a real world setting, where I can collaborate with people, with professional developers in a professional environment, and that's what really excites me.
Okay. Chad is saying your thing was too long, and I agree.
Okay. What should I cut out? What did you like, and what
Wait,
should I cut out?
is there what's up with your audio? It's a bit off. It sounds a bit muffly. You need that fixed for the interview.
Is that better? Did it change at all? Did it get better at all?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
Okay, what?
Okay, wait. Okay, I think take us through chronologically. Let me think about this advice. Yeah, I think I didn't really ask you why you want to work here. Yeah, I just said tell me about yourself, and you also got into why you want to work here. That would have been like a different question. So tell me about yourself. You pretty much walk me. The way I like to do is I just like to walk through my career. So I'll be like, hey, my name is James. I'm a software engineer at this specific company. Before this specific company, I was working at a Series A startup, and at the Series A startup, I did X, Y, and Z. Then I switched over to this specific company, and a lot of the projects I've been working on. Like, you take them through chronologically, and then just okay, go do it again. Do it again. Let's try to make it better. So Patrick, tell me about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Patrick. I'm a fourth-year computer science student at the University of Lethbridge. Most of my background is in C++. Recently I've been able to take some software development classes, which really helped me put together some. No, I need to restart. Let me restart. One more time. All
right. Okay.
One more time.
All right. So tell me about yourself.
Okay, so fourth-year student, computer science, University of Lethbridge.
Okay, we'll get back to this question. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So what do you know about JavaScript, or tell me a bit about JavaScript? That's kind of a dumb question. What is Node.js?
Okay, so Node.js is basically a runtime environment, or like a coding environment that lets you code with JavaScript outside of the browser. Basically, it lets you do backend development.
Okay. So, what's your familiarity with JavaScript and TypeScript? Can you explain to me why they created something like TypeScript?
So basically, TypeScript is a superset of the JavaScript language, but what it does is that it involves static casting. So what that means is that it you have to, when you implement a variable or something like that in TypeScript, you have to declare the type. So it helps prevent errors. It just helps prevent errors because you know what data types you're working with in TypeScript.
It helps you prevent errors. How? Again?
How? Because you can catch the errors at compile time rather than at runtime. And TypeScript basically forces you to use data types, so there's less chances of bugs occurring.
I see. Okay, what's your familiarity with REST APIs?
REST APIs, we actually are working on a REST API project in my software engineering class. Basically we have to develop is a blackjack application that uses REST API principles.
Mm-hmm.
And basically all that means is that REST principles is that it is the request. How should I put this? It's stateless basically. It's stateless. Pause. Let me think.
Okay. What's an API?
Yeah, an API is just a contract between two different applications on how they communicate with each other, how they can request and send data between each other.
Okay. Wait, I'm gonna talk to chat. Don't worry, Ben. I'm just quizzing him to understand. Make sure he understands. He knows all of the technologies he's gonna be getting himself into, and then we're gonna go into the behavioral interviews, the more behavioral aspects of it. But I just want to get a sense of his technical depth. What's HTTP?
HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's basically just how the internet, how servers can communicate with each other over the internet.
Just servers?
And browsers and APIs, servers.
I see. Okay, what's Express?
Express?
Yeah.
I don't know what Express is.
Oh, that's on the job description.
Okay. I do not know what this is. Is Express just different set of protocols? Is it different how there's REST API and different types of API?
Well, Express is the framework. Express is the framework that you're gonna use in order to build REST APIs in JavaScript that runs in Node.js environment.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, what's Express?
Yeah. It is Express is a runtime environment that lets us run the Node.js, where we'll be designing and testing our REST APIs.
I said Express is how we build our REST APIs.
How we build our REST APIs? What do you mean by
that? REST APIs, REST principles is a generic term.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So when you build an API and you follow RESTful principles, then it becomes a REST API.
Yeah.
Right? So Express is the framework you use in order to build. It's a framework you use to build REST APIs in JavaScript. Right? Chat, keep me honest. Keep me honest.
I'll have to look it up. What is Express?
Because you can build. Okay, what's a framework?
Framework, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. What is a framework? Is that some principles, design principles?
Well, a framework is basically a library or I mean, people say it's different, but essentially what it does is it provides a lot of like the boilerplate for building up a specific application. But you have to it's like more specific than a library, or it's way more strict than a library. But you pretty much import it, and then you have to follow certain rules and standards. Oh, John, CFA's in the building. A library. This is also an interview question. Sometimes people ask you, what's the difference between a framework and a library? That's another question I've heard. And a library is more just like a set of functions that you could import, but a framework is you're importing this piece of code and you have to follow like the guidelines of that framework.
Okay.
So, for example, what does that mean? If I'm using a Express, or if I'm using Django is more of a framework, while Express is more of just is more of a library because you don't have to follow that many rules. But yeah, but I think we're off topic here. I don't think they're gonna ask you that. But just know that Express is basically used to build REST APIs using JavaScript, and there's other frameworks you can use, right?
Express is a tool that makes it easy to build websites.
No, it helps you build REST APIs.
Okay, using Node.js.
Yeah, well, Node.js is the runtime environment. It runs your code outside of the browser.
Okay. No, okay, it runs your code. Okay.
Okay, tell me about yourself.
Okay, about myself. Okay, my name is Patrick. I'm a fourth year computer science student. I have a strong foundation in C++, but recently I've been getting into web development. So obviously, web development ever since the early 2000s has become a very valuable skill, and it just becomes more and more valuable as more and more businesses take their business online. So it's something that I really want to get my hands on and develop my skills using things like Node.js and using things like Node.js. And what I'm looking for. I'm really a collaborative type of person. I feel like I'm a people's person, so I really like working in teams. And what I'm looking for is an opportunity for to be able to apply my skills somewhere in a practical sense, with while collaborating with people, learning from experienced developers in a professional setting.
I see. So tell me about you like collaborating with people. Tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a colleague.
Okay, so for the first my first software development class, where we actually handled large scale software, where one of the things that we had to do was a group project for a interactive text-based game coded in C++, where we worked in a group.
Mm-hmm.
The coding, there wasn't that much code to the game, and one of the decisions that what happened was that one of my teammates in the group, we had a little bit of a disagreement on what type of coding structure that we should use. He wanted to use a more monolithic coding structure because he thought there wasn't that much code that wasn't enough code to warrant a more modular structure. It was something that I wanted to do, but I was trying to make the case that it's going to be easier to debug the modular code, and it's going to be easier to modify and extend if we need to. Mm-hmm. What we basically did is that instead of disagreeing on what we should do, I just advocated for us doing some small testing. He makes a little function from his code, and I make a function from my code. I make a little function of code, so it's a part of the project, and then we'll just see which one's easier to test and debug. And pretty quickly we saw that my structure was easier to go with and debug, and it seemed more sensible, even if it was a small amount of code. And basically what happened is that when we showed our professor what we did, he was pretty happy with the way that we structured our code. So I feel like that was
nice.
I feel like that was the time that I had it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Um, Tell me about a time when when's the last time you had feedback? Just tell me a time when you received constructive feedback.
Just right now, actually, we're doing one of the things that we're doing is I'm in a software engineering class, and we're working on a project. And the project's coming in 3 different phases, and we just had to do a demonstration of our phase 1. And I showed the teacher. Basically, we're just doing the black tag application that I mentioned earlier, and we had to do a demonstration to the professor in our class. He went through our code, and he liked what he saw, but he just mentioned something that related to how our team was working on our GitLab. Mm-hmm. Just making a comment on doing things like making sure that we're making clear comments on our commits and stuff like that, because he had a hard time tracking, because we were using very generic terms like push, test, style check, test, push, very generic terms. He had a hard time kind of keeping track of what people were doing when they were pushing their code, and kind of identifying what type of code they were pushing on the branch. And it makes sense. It makes sense. We were in a rush for this project, so we tried to we were just using very generic terms, but it makes sense because it made it harder for our professor to read our code.
I see. So what's tell me about the project that you're most proud of and why.
The project that I'm most proud of is probably going to be that text-based adventure game that I mentioned that I made. The reason why is because that project was my first big, large-scale project that I had to do for a software class, and it was really fun because this was my first opportunity to actually collaborate with people from my class for this project. We had to get into groups of 4 to complete the project. I'd say that I'm a people's person, so getting into a group, brainstorming, bouncing ideas off of other people, and collaborating is something for problem solving is something that I find very rewarding. And I had a really fun time learning from not only having fun with the project with my teammates, but learning from them too, because we had very strong teammates in that group.
Mm-hmm. So let me think about that a bit. I feel like when someone asks you tell me about your project you're most proud of, it's your time to talk about a project that sounds difficult and sort of.
Okay. Let me redo it.
All right. Let me just finish what I was saying.
Okay.
You're gonna want to give an example of a project that was technically challenging and shows that you have a lot of technical scope and technical depth. It just shines a good light on your technical skills, and you want you want to end it off with some good results as well. So just saying that you had some fun with some people and stuff is not a good result. Okay, continue.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I mean, it is a good result, personally, but they're looking for people who just gonna ship, like Liam said. Okay. Tell me about a project you're most proud of, and why.
Okay, so the project that I'm most proud of is my was my C++, was my text-based adventure game that I coded for my first software development class. It was really fun, and the reason why it was really fun, there was a big collaborative element to that class, which was awesome. But the other thing that was really big eye-opener for me and a big learning lesson for me was that in this class, what we really learned about was not only how to make code that works, but make code that's scalable, easy to maintain, and readable, and maintainable in the long term. Making good, clean code that also works. So in this class, we learned a lot about software development, different software development practices and principles, like solid and dry principles, as well as different design patterns to help keep code clean and structured. And I felt like this was a class that really took my developer
skills up a level. Okay. So you said that during that class you had to apply, um, like a lot of the principles you learned in school. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Name
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you apply. What? Name one specific situation where you had to apply one of those patterns that you just mentioned to that project.
Okay, so actually, when we are learning our different design patterns, one of the ones that we've learned was the MVC, the Model View Controller, the design pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, what this design pattern does is that you have a it's a design pattern that basically you have a model which holds the logic of your game or your program, and then you have a view that does all the print statements for your game, and you have a controller that acts as a middleman between these two components, and basically this helps with scalability and extendability for your code. And it also it was a big lesson in something called dependency injection.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say? 1 second. MVC for this game. Yeah, using design patterns and using this design pattern.
Are you looking off your notes right now?
No. I just lost track. I lost track of what I was going to say. Yeah, MVC design pattern, very good. Yeah, and yeah, I guess okay. Yeah, I just lost train of thought, but yeah, this was the time I used a design pattern. That was one of those design principles that I was talking about.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta redo that. I gotta redo that
so,
one. I gotta redo
that. Tell me about a time where you had too many things on your plate, and how did you prioritize and get things done?
Time that I had too many things.
I mean, sometimes we end up in situations where maybe we took on too much work, or we're taking too many classes at once. How do you handle that sort of situation when you have too many things on your plate? I just want to get a sense of how you deal with that.
Whenever I have, as a student who's going to university right now, definitely when things like midterms come around, I definitely start feeling that feeling of having too many things on my plate. So a big thing for me is that I like to prioritize. Basically, what I try to do is that I look for the things that are going to be the biggest benefit, or the things that are worth the most, that are going to affect my grades. They have the highest potential to affect my grades. So I'll look out for the midterms, the assignments, and projects that are the highest weight in my grade, and I'll start with working and studying or completing any tasks related to those first. And then when I get the hard stuff out of the way, I start working my the stuff that's worth the most, so the most important tasks, and then I start working my way down the list to least important.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way I like to handle having too many things on my plate.
I see. So have you ever had a conflict and you were wrong?
A conflict in my...
Or tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a colleague and you actually turned out to be wrong.
A time I had a conflict with my colleague. Okay, I have a good one. One time, one of my really good friends, James, me and him, we love to watch MMA, like mixed martial arts. And there's a UFC fighter named John Jones. And he always refers to John Jones as the greatest of all time. And for a long time, I was denying that. And now I understand that John Jones is the best of all time. So.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. No,
I have one more. That's actually a legit question I've been asked before. I'm gonna ask you a different one now. So, can you tell me about a time that you had to go above and beyond?
Above and beyond.
Yeah.
So.
I'll give it. I could explain it. So, like, maybe you're working on a project and then your whole team is lacking, and all of a sudden you need to
Mm-hmm.
go above. Or, for example, for me, if I'm working in a like engineering role and one of the teams is behind on their project, I can go above and beyond by helping them with their project or helping out somebody who's really like. There's different examples. Don't use those ones that I use specifically, but just tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond.
So this is so actually, and one of my so at the university, one of the classes I had to take in the previous semester was called it was a third year. It was a third year program that it was a third year course that was called programming languages, and what we had to do was code in a functional language called Racket.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was is that um, we were basically what we were basically doing was designing our own interpreter that was a subset of the language of Racket. So basically, we just had to, it was like we created a huge function that basically contained functions that the language Racket had, and we had to program those functions ourselves.
I see.
And that was a very difficult class, and we had to partner up for this in groups of 4, and that was very much a project where I had to go above and beyond because unfortunately my group members really were either one very hard to communicate with, or 2 they essentially had no clue on what they were doing or in this class. And it was a very tough situation because it's a very tough situation. But I felt like when your group, my group just wasn't very strong. And essentially what I had to do was just take over and complete the whole project essentially by myself. I had to basically do an insane crash course on Racket and how to use Racket and how to do things like how do you design like recursive functions in a functional language like Racket. And what ended up happening was that we got a really great mark on it. I think we got 98% on that project overall. But the teacher had really good things to say about our project, and I feel like that was a time where I rose above and beyond.
Okay, so you just did the whole project yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you said all these great things about yourself. What's your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness is that I care too much.
Okay, go.
Okay. My greatest weakness is that going to school, I find myself, I take great importance into my academics. I really value trying my best in my classes and really trying to find myself academically, and that involves getting high grades. And one thing that I guess I can say about myself is that in the attempts to try to get high grades, I can focus a little bit too much on the small details. Sometimes, I take a little bit too long. I could be taking a little bit too long on certain when, for example, in some of my, in that C++ the project that I mentioned I did in my software development class, there were times where me and my classmates or my teammates would set milestones, certain milestones for the certain milestones that we want to reach for our project. Like, maybe creating like a skeleton of the framework that we're going to be like using, having certain functions filled out, having certain unit tests filled out at certain times. And I find myself getting caught up trying to just really, really, really try to keep my code very clean, very like, just very clean, very like structured. And I find myself falling behind deadlines sometimes. And
Essentially, you're a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Classic. I hear that one all the time. All right.
So it's okay. I gotta figure something different. That's the one thing I can think of on the fly.
Bro, that's the
That's the one
classic
thing I can
one.
think of on the fly. Oh
You
my
just took way
god.
longer to just say it. Okay, how long is this interview gonna be?
It's an hour long.
An hour long? Holy crap. An hour long behavioral? This is nuts.
It says behavioral, situational, and technical.
Okay, they're gonna do behavioral, situational, and technical.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think they're gonna ask you leak code?
I have no idea, man. But
Is it tomorrow?
what am I? It's on Friday.
God damn.
I still got time.
And you're done all your
What if,
midterms and stuff? Or you're just gonna be studying straight up?
Yeah, I just finished my last midterm, like an hour before I showed up.
Holy crap. Okay, we need to... Dude, you should ask your friend what the breakdown is gonna be and get an understanding, because we need to prepare.
This is what she said. She said, I should show enthusiasm and excitement for the work and the role. Like, no one expects students to be perfect or have all the answers, but showing them that you are genuinely excited and passionate goes a long way.
I see.
And then she also said, the more he can talk about the AER and what it is, they will be impressed. But
Okay.
just some of the summer students are honestly too blah, no personality, no excitement. So the ones who have good energy and are excited and passionate, they really stand out.
I see. Okay. What about technical?
I don't know. She didn't say anything about technical.
Okay. I think... Yeah, you're using examples, which is good. You're showing examples. Whether it's a good example or not, I mean, that's subjective. But I think...
Examples? What do you mean? Which examples? Examples of what?
No, like, you're using examples, which is good. So, for example, when I ask you, tell me about a time when X, you describe a situation of... You give me a proper example, and I could visualize what's happening. But you just take super long to give the example, sometimes upwards of 5 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Or like getting close to 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, I'm talking a little too much.
So, what do you think, chat? I'm thinking one thing that I notice sometimes is some people, they try to give the interviewer they try to describe it for too long, because they're assuming that the interviewer will never understand what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the like the situation in the task is the least of important part. It just sets the stage. But the action and the result, right? What you actually did and the result is the most important part. So maybe cut a bit down on the situation, the task, and just briefly explain what's happening. Because even the more you talk, sometimes it sounds less crazy. You know what I mean? Like for example, so for example, tell me about your biggest project. I mean, that one you kind of have to explain it a bit, but do you get what I mean? Like the situation, the task just sets the stage, and that should be shorter. The action is the part that they're trying to see how you would behave in certain situations. That part is more important to them. And then so I think spending more time on the action, and then also like a little bit on the result. But the meat of it should be the action that you took. So if you had a disagreement, you set the stage, and then you talk about how you resolve that disagreement, and that part should be the most concise and like packs the biggest punch.
Okay.
So focus on like decreasing the situation task. So how I would prepare for this and how I usually do it is I just come up with a bunch of different or I have a list of behavioral questions that they ask me, and then I just figure out situations in like 1 or 2 sentences of when I had to like that I could use for that specific behavioral question. So, for example, I mean, you had one related to what's your biggest project. Just write a sentence of the situation. Be like, your C++ large scale adventure game. It's a big project, right? Tell me about a time you had a disagreement. One or two sentences be, yeah, during my C++ adventure game with a colleague where we had a disagreement about using a more modular design versus monolithic approach versus a modular design. That's the context, right? And then the action, you should spend more time a bit there.
All right.
Okay. Yo, chat, what does everyone think? How could he improve his stuff? Everyone's saying every answer was 2 to 3 times longer than it needed to be. I agree. But it wasn't like that last time I interviewed you.
Yeah. Last time was a little better.
Yeah, a little verbose. John, what else are you thinking?
Verbose? Who said verbose?
John, CFA.
Okay, John CFA. Not bad.
Chat. We need to crowdsource this. Yeah, you just come up with some good examples. I think you did good though. Honestly, I think you did good.
Let's do another question.
They said talk slower and get a better mic. But this is in person. This is in person, so.
No, it's gonna be over Microsoft Teams.
Oh really? Okay, get a better mic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh shit.
So, Patrick, why should I choose you for this job?
Why should you choose me for this job? Why I think you should choose me for this job is that besides my technical skills, what I think is that my work values and what I'm looking for in a job aligns directly with the value a lot of the values at the AER. Like one of the values I've seen of the AER is collaboration and innovation. And I think that describes my work style and and the way that I operate. Because that's what I like to do. I like to collaborate with others while learning and problem solving. And I would like to apply my skills in a practical sense in a professional setting. And yeah.
Okay. Why should I not choose you for this job?
Why should you not choose me for this job? Why should you not choose me for this job?
What would be a reason why I wouldn't choose you?
I ramble too much.
All right.
Why would you not want to choose me? Oh my god, I'll kill myself. Don't choose me. Yeah. Do you think is that a real question?
I don't think it's a real question. I just heard it in a different live stream.
Why should I not choose you?
Okay.
You really want to know?
All right, we're gonna get back into the technical stuff for like 5 more minutes, to land our 45 minutes. But I think in that question, definitely just showing. I like it. You align with their values. You show that they're doing it. So it looks like you researched their company. That's good. And I would work in some of the things your friend told you of what they want. Someone who's excited. So why should they choose you? Yeah, you're passionate. You're passionate about the stack. Obviously, you think that's like you're gonna learn a lot of great skills during that interview. That you played around with that stack. You find it really fun to work on that stack, and you could build like meaningful projects quickly using that tech stack. So showing that your excitement not only about like the technologies you're going to be working and building on, but then also the technology, or they said talk about how you like AER, the company. Just talk about why you would want to join a company like AER, and then just talk about like you like the work you're gonna do, you like the company, and then you also like how the company operates, which is the values and stuff, right? The principles of the company.
Okay.
So just try to work that in because
Yeah.
that's what your friend told you to do.
Yeah. I want to say like it's like energy. The energy sector is like super important in Alberta. So being able to work with the energy sector feels like I'm applying my skills in a practical sense. Does that make sense?
Wait, say it again. I was just reading the chat.
Being able to work. I want to say something about like working at AER means I get to work in a very important sector, which is the energy sector, especially in a province like Alberta, where energy is super, super important. It makes me feel like I can actually apply my skills that have to make real world impact.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Let's talk about your intro again. How were we structuring that again? Tell me about yourself and just talk about it at a high level. Don't answer the question. Look, I just want to get a sense for how you're going to structure that.
Okay, so basically the original way that I was going to do this is that I was just going to say, I always start with like, I'm a fourth year computer science student, strong foundations in C++. And the way that I was going to take it was something like, I've recently been getting really into web development. And I wanted to say like, basically one, that web development is becoming more and more important skill to like know. So I want to like, be able to learn and develop this skill, and also I want to do this where I feel like I want to do this like somewhere in an environment that I feel like I'm gonna have real world impact, and that's the AER. Oh wait, that's like, but that's more like
you're answering.
No. That's like more. Yeah. No. What you call it? Go down.
Okay, wait. Okay, let's work on this a bit because the elevator pitch sets the stage, right? So I'm thinking, I'm actually thinking about it in a different way because I know a bit more about you. I wonder if it's interesting to talk about where you were before that as well. Not like with the roofing or anything. Be like, I'm a fourth year student. I actually started off in chemistry, but like I had some friends doing software engineering, computer science, and I saw what they were working on. I found it really cool. Decided to switch into it. A lot of the work that I've been doing, I've done a few classes in artificial intelligence, did a lot of C++. Now I'm doing some courses in like backend development, REST APIs, networking, like like taking them through a bit of your career and what you learned along the way as well. And because like you're kind of just getting into, I'm a fourth year with the only thing I know about you is you're fourth year student who knows C++, right? But there's so much other things that you've done in your degree that we could probably like skim over. Like you've done design patterns, you've done cryptography, right? Because if you just say you know C++, that's a first year course, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's think about this. What do you think about talking about like that you were in chemistry and switched? Or do you not want to say that?
Yeah, I think that's like that. If you think that's like if it's worth it, you think if it's worth it to put into that, I would be okay with saying that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think because it is for like a AER. I don't know. It kind of makes you sound even smarter too. Like you took chemistry for a bit and now you're in computer science. Like it seems like you tried different things. Okay, what are the different courses that you took? Okay, let's talk about your first year. What were the courses that you took?
Most of them were just introductory courses, like basic programming, like introductory programming, logic.
Okay.
Logic. Some simple digital design, like using different logic gates, like designing circuits with logic gates. And some object-oriented programming.
I see. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's think about this for a second because your elevator pitch could be improved, and I think the main thing that we should just do actually is because all you said is you have a strong foundation in C++. We should also talk about some of the other things you did. That makes sense. So it'll be like, yeah, I'm a fourth year student. I've taken courses and things like we did a lot of C++, but I learned object oriented programming in C++. I've done functional programming. I've took classes where I'm building compilers, AI, cryptography. I've taken a lot of different computer science class, and I really focused on getting a breadth of knowledge over depth of knowledge in my undergrad. Something like that, like really showing more of what you've learned. I don't know exactly all the other classes that you have, and be like, yeah. Currently, I'm doing a lot of web development, and I think it aligns well with the current job posting here. Doing a lot of building REST APIs, learning a bit of JavaScript. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try to work that in.
Very good. Very good, James. Very good.
Chad, what do you think? Yeah, maybe we don't want to have the longest intro, so maybe we don't have to talk about your chemistry degree. But I think just giving more details of all the things you want to learn. Because if a student comes to me and they're telling me all these classes that they took, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's good. If you just tell me I know C++, then I just only think that you did the first year course, right? Does Pat have a website? Not yet. All right, we're gonna end it off with a few more technical questions. Can you explain me what SQL is?
So SQL it stands for Structured Query Language, and it's like a programming language where it's really easy to retrieve and fetch data from relational databases, which just means that information is a relational database is just when information is stored in a structured way, like kind of like a Microsoft Excel sheet, like kind of like in tabs.
What does it stand for?
Like, look. Structured query language.
Okay. So what's a database?
Database is just it's just where a bunch of data a structure where a bunch of data is held.
Yeah, like why would you need a database?
The reason why you need a database is just so you can save your data.
I see. Okay. What are the different ways of... Are you familiar with NoSQL?
NoSQL, yeah. From my understanding, essentially, it's just it's unstructured, unlike SQL, which is like structured, like I was saying, in rows and columns. NoSQL is unstructured and a little bit more dynamic.
I see. Okay. What's Azure?
Azure is essentially Microsoft's version of Amazon's AWS. It's just like a cloud platform where a bunch of services can be held.
Okay. What's the use of it? Or why does it exist in the ecosystem?
It's the reason why it exists is that it's super scalable and super easy. It's super cost effective. So essentially, instead of having your own servers, you can just use like let's say Microsoft servers to use like their cloud platform, and you can just host all the different things that you want to do.
Nice.
And you don't have to have your own like servers or anything like that. And you can just whenever you need more resources, it's super cheap to like add resources to use.
I see. John's so funny on the chat. Yeah, no.
Oh my god.
I'm giving you a pass. How do you feel about the interview?
A pass?
What do you think? What is your criticism? Like, how do you think it went? First off.
Dude, I feel like, rambling a lot. I liked your idea of I'm on the stream now too. I wasn't even on the stream for this whole time. So just basically rambling, not getting to the point. I kind of flopped on some of the technical questions, but I feel like I could have explained it way better. And The elevator pitch sucked.
Yeah, I think it's a good assessment of yourself. It's kind of what I would give it as well. But you sound excited. You sound like you do know what you're talking about. We just need to keep ironing it out a bit. Yeah. Elevator pitch is the most important part. Practice that one because that's like the first little bit of the interview. Yeah, a lot of rambling. So what I'll say is, but I did notice that most of the rambling was on the situation and task. So just shorten that a bit and figure out a better way to provide context to the story.
Okay.
Like a more succinct way.
Do you want to do another one tomorrow night? One more?
Yeah, we can do another one.
Okay, we'll do that. Tomorrow I'll come prepared.
Yeah, because honestly, even to like pretend I didn't provide enough context in the situation and the task, then they're just gonna ask me for more details, right? So if I'm like I talk about this project and then I just go wait to the action result, and then they just ask me more questions to get more context to understand. That's not as bad as rambling for 5 minutes and then the person lost interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better to provide less than more because they can always ask for more if they need to. And at the end of the day, they're trying to write notes and trying to remember stuff about you. The more succinct, the better.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get your technical skills or like the technical answers a lot better. Because I think they're going to grill you on these technical parts and they're going to ask you like trivia type questions. And we need to get those nailed down.
Okay, we'll do one tomorrow. And I'll come back and I'll pass it.
Just go.
I'll make the whole chat so proud. Everybody in the chat
we'll do it again tomorrow. You'll literally go. Also go on. Just watch this over again and listen to yourself too. And try to figure out what happened.
What happened, James?
Yeah. Debrief. Yeah, everyone's giving you a pass. Yeah. Improve on the technical spots. You're using the star format. Yeah. All right. I'll catch you on the next video.
I'm giving the stream a like.
Okay, sounds good, bro. Call you again tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, word. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, chat. Good stuff. Thank you. Peace.
Yo, what's everyone saying? How was that? How was his... Okay, John, let me call you.